Okay, hey everybody, Farmer Trogg. Well, you're going to be getting your first week of shares for the 2019-2020 season. I am out in the tomato tunnel, and I'm going to flip this camera around in the middle. I was going to take you through I'm sure it'd be rather long, but a quick tour if you were here of the farm and show you what's going on and let you know about some stuff. I think we got everybody out today as well, so we'll say hi if we can. Anyway, like I said, we started up here in the tomato tunnel. The sides are up. They've been up for a few days now. We have some taller grass weeds in here, but really tomatoes are looking great. They're enormous. I've got to get them hung here soon. I've just been waiting until I could open the sides and air it out. So yeah, we've got regular reds, the Rutgers heirlooms in here. We've got the not black crim, Cherokee purple in here. We've got Brandywine, not Brandywine, another big one in here. And then we've got lemon drop peppers and habaneros in here. This is the second tunnel. You can see the first one's way over there. Right now, that's where we're still harvesting greens from. It's been so cool that tunnel is really the only place we're getting anything from right now. I'll show you as we get further up here into that acre up front there. Our transplanted greens and seeded stuff is just not up to par because of the wetness and the weather. So, long story short, because I don't want to keep repeating that over and over, a lot of things are delayed 2, 3, 4 weeks just because how wet and cool it was a month ago. But we have a lot more in the ground because it just freed up some time for stuff. So this is planted. You'll notice that it's the rows are covered with green too. This is one of the things we're trying to do more out here. We are interplanting with a clover cover. It's a white clover, so and it has not completely taken over here, but the plan is hopefully to cut down on all the grass and all the tilling that we need to do to keep that down to plant into the clover. But it only gets so high in here. We've got your red and yellow storage onions. It's a few thousand on both sides, and then there's some leeks further in, and you can see the onions aren't really having any problem growing through that clover. Once in a while we'll trim it down, and we do weeding. I'll show you further up in between the individual plants. This is a half acre here, or a little bit under, that is currently not planted. We've got it ready to go to start some stale bed planting of second or third squash crop, depending on how you look at it. And this would be our first and second planting. Now they're not even out of the ground yet, so that's why this one hasn't been planted. We got zucchini, yellow summer squash, patty pan squash. We've got a couple edible pumpkins. We've got acorn squash, spaghetti squash, delicata squash, and butternut squash in here as well. And we've also, since we were having such good luck the way we were planting the squash last year, we put a watermelon in here just to see. Hey, maybe we'll get watermelons for the first time in this clayey soil. So anyway, looks like even though we wanted, even the peas were a little bit delayed here for harvesting. We've got them strung up here and on those posts. That's the first planting. They're getting there, but I think we're gonna need another week on those to plump up. Definitely not this week, but I think another week because temperature and rain. So over there, that fenced in, that's where the goats are this year. They're actually penned in a smaller area that we rotate and move around the field every 7 days to help cut down on some of the pest pressure, mostly the worms and mosquitoes. You'll see there are some weedier things in here with our peas. I have sorrel over here that from last year that we're letting go to seed to save those seeds and replant, but we are still harvesting the sorrel, and then over here we have some kale and cabbage flowering among weeds, but I want to save the seeds there, so we'll be picking those in a bit. This is a third planting of beans, but this one doesn't go to us. This is for Beepa's beans. It's a friend of ours that does canned beans. Anyway, and then a third planting of beets and carrots over there. These are our first beets and carrots. We've gone through them a couple times, but again, this is one of our wetter spots, and they're a little weedy. We'll be going through again this week. First planting of beans, finally starting to come out of the ground. Okay, here's our later peas. You know, how late is basically how hot it gets, how quickly. What's in here? Oh, we did some popcorn in here. Try that out. Celery starts here, so this will be later on this summer, and then we've got cabbage for a little bit later on, and cauliflower, and then broccoli. Now, you may get broccoli in shares this week or next week, depending on how good things look. We had a very late broccoli crop out of the tunnel. In fact, the first harvest was just last week, so we'll be starting with some of that, but they won't be full heads until we get into here. And this is our second crop of radishes and arugula in here, as well as beets and carrots. And then we start getting into transplants. We've got tomatillos and hot peppers and bell peppers and sandwich box peppers and ghost peppers, and some transplanted volunteer kale. We got a whole bunch more to transplant. This is, oh, more of the popcorn. That's what I'm seeing here. Great. And then the second planting of beans starting to come up there well. It's our basil, really starting to look nice. It's been in the ground for a few weeks there. There's some very late tomatoes here. I just got them in. I'm hoping that they'll extend our season a little more out here. But then we've got rows and rows and rows of different types of tomatoes. Gonna need to cultivate in here this week if it stays dry, but they're loving it out here. And we're looking good here and in the tunnel, so that's awesome. Let's walk back one more. So we've just covered about 2 acres of planting. Take out that empty acre for the later squash, empty half acre, but that's how things are there. And now let's walk over here. We've got earlier onions. They're a sweeter Vidalia type. They're called Walla Wallas that we're going through and weeding out today. We are tilling up a field that was in cover to plant it up with turnips and sunflowers for the summer, so that the pigs have that acre for the winter to break down and till up, and something to supplement their grain that we give them. This year, I didn't talk about it before, we did plant a native prairie pollinator section. It's a half of an acre behind this goat acre. It's purposeful. We don't want to touch that again unless we have to overseed it, but we went with Masic prairie forbs and grasses back there, as it would have been around here. Along with how much native we've seen come back with pollinators and just beneficial insects in general, this should really help. So yeah, here's those sweet onions. They're looking great here. Like I said, we were in here weeding. Looks like Marcy might have just finished up her row, and then Oren's out there tilling that field, like I said. We'll say hi to the goats here as well. But yeah, these onions are all a sweet Vidalia type onion. They're called Walla Wallas, and they get big really in the next few weeks here. Hopefully we'll start to see swelling, but we'll also use them for fresh green onions as well. So there's the goats. They're about a day away from being moved here. We just move them down the fence line and then S them or whatever through the field, but there they all are. Say hi. All right. Marcy's got her headphones in, but yeah, real quick weeding like this, and we should be good for quite a while. Now here's our old tunnel. This is what we've been harvesting from this spring so far, and it's overgrown because we definitely have harvested quite a lot. These 3 beds here were mostly spinach, and it's just been way too warm. I mean, we have one plant down here that with all the yellowing and going to seed, but there's not going to be spinach until fall or winter now. It's just too warm for it, inside and out, because we had outdoor stuff that went to seed as well. So right now we've got chard in here that looks awesome. We're going to be starting with that as greens as well as kale. And like I said earlier, if the broccoli starts coming back and growing even smaller heads like that, we'll start getting those in shares as well. But that's what's coming out of the tunnel. So our greens, like I said, are going to be mixed kale and chard right now for this week, if not next. And we've got radishes and mint and chives, and I'm forgetting something somewhere. It'll all be in the newsletter. Let's see. I didn't talk about out there. Out there, that's the pig's house. So those are the 6 pigs that are about 6-7 months old now. Out there, they'll be grazing out there the whole summer, and then they'll be moving to here with their hut for the winter, because like I said, it'll be planted in turnips, and then all those sunflower stalks with all their roots will be here, so they'll have some great foraging there, which is what we want them to do, because we have the other, well, I guess it's 6 + 1, because we have one boy in there that is our boar that we'll hold on to breed more here. This acre is, this was all sunflowers and turnips last year. And these big guys here have gone through and turned this soil over at least once since the thaw. And we haven't mowed or tilled at all in here. It's just their doing, keeping all this down. So that's these guys, and they will they'll finish off on here, and we'll let everybody know when they go in for butcher. And then this will be seeded with double coating of that clover I was talking about, because next year, the planned rotation next year, this is to be our front acreage that we just had up at the front over there with the tomatoes and everything else on it that wasn't squash. And hopefully we'll be able to plant mostly right into that clover and not disturb too much more. What else do we got? Finally, okay, we're up at the barn. So this is our apple tree. Cherries didn't get pollinated. It doesn't look like the pears did, but our apple tree is loaded with fruit. We don't know the type, but yes, we'll be seeing that in shares, usually about the end of August. And we'll just go through the barn and call it there. So this is inside here. I don't think, yeah, Daisy's inside. Daisy's a donkey. She does half days outside, so she doesn't eat too much. Oh, but maybe she's not in. Daisy? Oh, there she is. Hey, Daisy. Come here. Come on. No? Do you want to come over or not? Come on. There you go. Good girl. So she's out with the goats for half the day, and then the other half in here. Yeah, the rest is just messy farm stuff around here. But so that's how things look. Start of the share season here at Trogg's Hollow. And hey, kitty. I will talk to everybody later. Bye.